Happy Monday. How's everybody feeling after a long weekend? I know you're excited to be here because there's a lot of great things happening this week, right? First of all, you're alive. Second of all, you're here. Third of all, we're going to save you some money. And to do that, I'm actually jumping on a quick call with Kingsley Charles, who is the founder of WealthyCEO. And the first thing that I asked Kingsley is, what does Trump's accountant know that my own accountant doesn't know? And he gave me a really interesting answer. So I'm going to share that with you first, and then we're going to talk about how you guys can tap into that same knowledge so you too can save money, have more money left on at the end of the year, and know what the top 1% of businesses know that can help them grow and scale like that. So Kingsley, hey.
Hi, Yvette. How are you?
So thank you so much for jumping on. This is very, guys, it's unplanned, unannounced. We're doing it kind of like on the fly because we really want to give you some awesome tips to get you started if you haven't yet, right? This is the middle of the year. Let's end it good. So to do that, first of all, Kingsley, what does Trump accountant know that my own accountant doesn't know?
Well, you have to in the industry you have to specialize, and so there's a wide variety of accountants and CPAs that exist in the world. And so you had asked the question, what is the difference? Your CPA is by the book, and I will tell you that our CPAs on our team are by the book too. We just use the whole book. The tax code is literally 75,000 pages long, and so if you're specializing in entrepreneurs that are doing between 250 and 2.5 million, I've even got clients that are doing $100 million a year, is that you have to know all of the apparatus or understand everything that's in that book to make sure that your clients get the benefit of minimizing taxes as allowed.
That is a lot. That's a lot. So how did you get into creating WealthyCEO? Where did that come about?
Well, our team has been a team of financial consultants for about 15 years. We've worked for a handful of private firms, a couple of Fortune 500 companies, and then we started working with individual entrepreneurs where we've literally supported hundreds of companies from coast to coast and even a couple foreign nationals that operate in the United States. So we've been in the business for about 15 years. We really focused on the WealthyCEO brand as a whole to really give clients a comprehensive understanding of asset protection, tax, bookkeeping, financial money management from a business owner's perspective. Is that we wanted to create a platform both for educational purposes, but also for the handful of clients that we support 365 days a year.
So what do you think, someone probably like myself and many people watching right now, you start out, and I was telling this to my sister the other day, all I wanted to do is sell cupcakes. But now I have to deal with funnels and taxes and employees and emails and all that stuff, right? All I wanted to do this one thing. So I'm sure you're meeting people kind of like at the end, maybe like in the middle of their journey where they kind of figure out how to sell cupcakes. And now they're trying to figure out, okay, how do I keep more of the money that I make from selling my cupcakes so that actually I can grow and scale? Is that where you come in?
Absolutely. It's funny is that we all have that initial reaction. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I've been in business since I was 21 in some capacity. Is that we have that drive and we have that idea and we go out and just run and sell, but we forget about all the little pieces that come along with that. It's difficult to integrate the legal, tax, accounting, estate planning as you start to develop more wealth. Is to really have a guide or a blueprint to understand how all that interacts with your business. Is really what we created WealthyCEO to do.
And so when, a lot of us, when we start out, we go like, okay, let me just do the regular taxes, right? There's a Schedule C, and then you grow. And for me personally, this is a headache, right? It's kind of like you were saying, 75,000 pages. I don't want to do that, right? So when people start working with you, it's mostly one-on-one, right? And now you decided, okay, let me take that one-on-one and turn that into like a group training where I can give you some of this knowledge and you can do it on your own. So let's talk about that for a second. What will go into that group training?
Well, the idea is that we wanted to be able to provide the same base. I had a challenge about a year and a half ago from one of my really great clients. He's like, if you can figure out how to put this in a box, you'll be brilliant. And I was like, I don't think I can put it in a box. But we're also not interested in having a staff of 100. And so the quickest way for me to get out a comprehensive education from a consultancy level was actually build a course that incorporated the majority of what we teach and train our clients, each and every month. And so that was the concept to create the course, to help clients individually at a faster rate, as opposed to what we consider our consultancy clients that pay us a significant amount of money to help manage their businesses from financial back end. We do that full time for probably about 50 clients coast to coast currently. And so we built this course specifically to help not necessarily people that are messed up, but people that are getting into the industry, and give them guidance and direction over the course of time, and then also to give them a resource guide to reach out for knowledge, and then also provide group coaching and consultancy that at a fraction of the cost to allow them to get their questions answered and guide them, in the correct direction. Is that because we've been doing this for so long as an advisory firm, is that our Rolodex is pretty thick, and we've pretty much run across pretty much every single question or opportunity that exists for most business owners. And if I haven't run across it personally in my travels, I guarantee you that I have a tax professional or a tax attorney or an estate planning attorney on speed dial that we can get answers for clients, because this is what we do, week in and week out.
So what's the worst that can happen, right? Because a lot of us are going like, well, okay, I'll just figure it out, or when I have the money, I'll invest in it, or I'm not at that point yet, right? Hey, Stuart, we're not bringing people in today, so just put your comments below this video. So what's the worst that can happen? Say like, I'm just not going to deal with it until I have to deal with it. Then what?
Well, I mean, that's the unfortunate, but we talk a lot about leakage. And so our goal for our clients is to prevent leakage anywhere we can. So if you don't focus on what we consider the core primary functions of financial planning for your business, and that's not about managing assets or how you manage your money, it's about how you're structured, how your books are done correctly, or your tax returns correctly, are you managing your cash flow appropriately? Those are all the key components that we focus on to prevent leakage from a business owner's perspective. And that's what can happen if you don't actually do it correctly. Probably the worst case scenario is litigation. And so if you've got a rental portfolio, for example, or you're giving consulting advice, do you have the right asset protection to separate your business from you personally? And then beyond that, do you have the right kind of insurance to make sure that your business is protected? It's all about preventing leakage. And so to answer your question is, I think it's a wise investment on the front side. And all of us are guilty about it too. I would tell you that 50% of my clients, their stuff is messed up when we see it.
Yeah, I bet, because they're probably like me, right? Where they're like, well, I'll get to it when I get to it, because I haven't made enough money. Maybe I'm not doing right enough. I might need the right clients, right? Because you're busy putting fires and you're not taking the time to actually plan for it. And so can you really grow if you don't take care of that? Or like, is there any point where you're like, fudge, I should have done this 3 years ago, right? Like, is there anything kind of like, this is going to happen, and because I didn't do it, now I lost my business, I'm stuck in, I don't know, litigation, I'm, like so screwed that, only Kingsley will save me.
No, I mean, that's the thing. So our goal is to try and put ourselves in front of problems. And so that we focus on that. And believe me, I have plenty of clients that come to me in fire mode, where we literally become firemen trying to fix things. But I can tell you, if it's already happened, it's too late.
Yeah.
That's why, for really smart business owners will go out and, pay a ton of money to get differences in opinions from different attorneys and different CPAs. That's really what the course was about, is that there's an educational process involved and understanding the differences in opinion and the techniques that are being used and why they're being used. And so it really is a blueprint that allows education and interaction for a client to understand what the ins and the outs are without having to do all that heavy lifting or due diligence on their own.
And so this is one of the really super cool stuff, guys. If you're watching us right now, Kingsley is doing two things that are super unique that you can get advantage of. One, the course is not being done, it's not pre-recorded. You actually get to learn directly from Kingsley and get his input as you're going through the material. And now that's only going to happen one time, right, Kingsley?
Correct. We made the decision after I met you. We talked about client engagement and our community and understanding what our clients want to see. We made the decision to open this up to our client list and get some individuals enrolled and get them to participate, because we have scripted the content for this course over the last year. We literally have, I would say, 6 to 7 hours of content at this point. But the reality is that we drafted that as a team. And my clients are just as important to me as what I envision. And that's because we have relationships with clients that last 10, 12 years, is that we wanted our clients, after meeting you, I was like, this is brilliant. I want my clients to be able to participate and get involved with the production, because there are going to be things that we glance over or we don't address completely, or the clients really want to know more about, that we can actually include in the recorded course.
So what's awesome about these guys is you're actually getting almost one-on-one support and training and education, but for a fraction of the price. So usually, I don't know what it is to work with you for an entire year, but now they can get it for like, what, $500? How much is it?
Yeah, it's like $600, but
$600,
to engage us, it's a 5-digit commitment for 365 days. So we're talking somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 for us to be fully integrated with a client. But this is an opportunity to participate because we want participation, where this course, which is normally $2,000, and that's not like a fake price, because it's so content rich and it comes with ongoing moderation and group coaching. Is that is the price. But we decided to open this up for some of my clients and some of your clients, and your viewers and Board of Advisors viewers. We decided to open this up for just the $600 because we want the participation.
Yeah. Dave Moore is saying, where am I? There I am. Dave Moore is saying, run your business in peace, but always be prepared for war. You like that?
Totally. Totally. A little bit more about the course. We've made the decision that we're going to constantly build the content on it. We take the approach where we want to have a focus on finance, and running your business is one of the modules that we do. We're going to talk about asset protection and the alphabet soup of entities at length, and what entities you should be using and why. We have a very, very strong footing in tax mitigation and accountancy. And so we're going to do a complete module on bookkeeping done correctly. We're going to talk a lot about risk management and bankruptcy proofing and litigation proofing your life. And then we're also going to talk about tax. Fifth module is tax secrets of the top 1%. All of the tools that larger businesses are using to lower their tax implication. And then we also talk a lot about paying yourself first, because that's one of the cores to not only reducing your taxation as a U.S. taxpayer, but also making sure that you're growing your personal wealth towards retirement faster.
Which I love. I was just talking to one of our shared friends, and he was sharing how he met you first, and then Mike met you, and then I met you, and how we're all kind of like running in the same circles now. But he said that prior to talking to you, he had no idea. He didn't even And I was like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, how do you protect yourself? How do you do all that stuff, right? Is there any secret door or any specific accounts, or what do you need to do? And he said that you taught him, right, some different accounts that he can put it in. A lot of it is real estate. But there's something that goes even beyond that is the cash flow, right? Because you need to be prepared for retirement, but you also need to be paying rent or mortgage, right? And so there's so many little things that come into this that, guys, you have to have someone who's in the business, who knows what they're talking about, who have seen so many cases that they can also help you in the process. So when is this starting?
The course actually starts on this Friday, 1 p.m. and it runs for 6 weeks consecutively. But all of the content, if you can't appear live, which is our preference, is that all the content will be available for download within 72 hours of each course date. But again, we've decided to make it as content rich as we could. And so the downloads and the materials that we will be sharing with the clients are going to be pretty rich.
So what's super cool about these guys is that a week from today, even what less, 5 days from today, you can be starting on securing your business, paying yourself first, and knowing how to use the tax to actually benefit yourself. Like, just know what the top 1% of people know. That's 5 days from today. You can do that, and you can do it for a fraction of the price if you click on the link either above the video or below the video, depending on where you're seeing us, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. But if you click that link, that's a special link that Kingsley only made for his friends and colleagues that you get access to. So use that, because it will never happen again. And if you're in a situation, or you know anyone that's in a situation that's like, hey, you know, I'm working so much, but there's more month than money, then that's probably for them. You probably want to share that link with them and let them know that they want to take this course. And what's super, super exciting about this course, and I'm going to be a part of it, is that you are going to give us the step-by-step on how to do something. But more than that, you're going to be there overlooking our shoulder to say, hey, you know, the plan that you made is not going to get you to where you want to go. You have to modify it this way. And that's really, guys, the biggest benefit that you can get if you join us this Friday. It's a six-week course. You're getting it for 70% less, and you're getting personal attention. So I don't know what can be better than that, except, you know, getting more money into our account without having to worry about all that stuff.
I think you hit the nail on the head. The best part is the interaction. Is that after the course is released publicly, we'll do monthly Q&A calls and forum calls in a group coaching format. In addition to the client engagement stuff that you and I are going to work on in August and September, following the production of the course. And so the access point is much different during the course, during the live Q&A. Is that I can guarantee you're going to have 7 opportunities to be directly involved with not just me, but also our tax professionals and our other accredited partners that we're bringing in to help teach some of the course material.
And there's a great comment from Dave, who says, this sounds great because I've heard so many business people say, I can't believe this happened, and I can't believe they did this to us. Well, believe it, be prepared for it, and when it hits the fan, you need to be ready to be able to swat that fly dead. So he says awesome. He will be in Kazakhstan when it kicks off. So Dave, it doesn't matter. You'll have access to the replays, but also it's a 6-week course. So you can catch on the first one if you wanted to, and then join the next one. So it's going to be 1 p.m. Central, right?
1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern. So noon, so 11 a.m., 10 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, starting this Friday, in a special place near you. We'll tell you where. But it's going to be live, interactive, and a lot of fun. And I think you're limiting the group size, right? We are.
We were afraid that we would end up with if we didn't limit it, that we'd end up having too many. I mean, you know how it is on your show. When you have too many people, you can't get to the Q&A. Is that we don't want to end up having a 2-hour Q&A. So we're strictly going to limit it to 25 live participants.
So guys, if you want to be one of those 25, link above, link below. Find us online. Find Kingsley online. He can answer any of your questions. And I myself am looking forward to it. And I think, it's the same story, right? If you build your house on rotted foundations, you might end up in California. No, I'm kidding. Very interesting. So thanks so much. Anything else do you think that they need to know before we end?
I think we promised them some tips, and so I don't want to. I'm all about
Let's do
educating, and
that.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't want to walk out the door without talking about some of our philosophies that viewers might enjoy. Is I promised three, but I think I'm going to give you four, and I'll try not to get too technical. Is the first, kind of like you were talking about, our unique friend, is that you want to create cash buckets as a business owner, and it's because business owners have expenses that normal people don't have, and they come quickly. And so my first rule of thumb is create a tax fund. Push aside 25% of your net profits immediately, set it aside and out of arm's length. You do not want to be spending your tax fund. The second thing is pay yourself 15%, and again, set it aside and out of arm's length. If you are into tithing, is that you need to look at creating a tithing bucket as well. And we teach this in detail about using donor advised funds. So if you're committed to giving 5% or 10% or 20% of your net or gross revenue away, you want to create a separate bucket for that as well. The second level for that is to defer taxable income into 401ks, cash balance plans, defined benefit plans, IRAs, Roths. We all hear those buzz terms, but as business owners, we control that environment. And so you want to maximize it for two reasons. One is from a cash management standpoint, you want to have those reserves available in the case of an emergency. But more importantly, when you're deferring taxable income into these accounts, it reduces your tax liability. The next step would be to convert any of these accounts as possible to Roths, because in a Roth environment, they grow tax-free forever.
There's so many questions, and this is why I love that you're going to do this course live, because so many questions are coming up to me right now that I know we don't have a lot of time to dive into it. But many questions like, yeah, you need to put some money aside. What if I can't? Right? Like, what if I'm running my business like that? Another one that came up, and you can answer them in the course or now. So many people that I spoke to said, hey, I put my money in Roth or IRA, and then something changed and I lost everything. So I'm sure there are ways to protect yourself from these kind of situations, right?
Well, it's funny. Well, I mean, your business has to be profitable. And so this is really about cash management,
Yeah.
and so we do a lot of operational work. And I've been in operations, most of my adult life. I mean, I run 3 businesses, so I get it. And so your business has to be healthy and profitable in order to be able to set aside that cash.
Yeah.
So if you're running a business at a loss, obviously creating those buckets isn't a now item. I would argue that if you're of the belief that you need to pay yourself for your labor because you're just creating another job for yourself, I would always argue that if nothing else, you need to pay yourself 15% and get it out of the way.
Yep.
Because that 15%, that's going to be your personal reserve fund. If you're 100% an entrepreneur, you are going to need deep pockets. So
Yep.
every dollar that comes in, you need to push aside 15 cents. There will be a time in your business cycle where you need that cash.
Yeah.
So making your business profitable, that's a different conversation. We talk a lot about the organization and efficiency in our first module. And one of the things that we do talk about is understanding, entrepreneurs have great ideas and they may be great at selling, or they may have had a great idea, but selling isn't their best skill. That means that they need to have somebody that has the ability to sell and market in their organization, just like a lot of entrepreneurs are really horrible with accounting and tax, and that's why they hire us. But the key to making your business work, having been in so many businesses and worked with so many businesses in the last 15 years, is sales and marketing.
Yep.
If you drive the sales and marketing aspect of your business, the cash flow is going to get much easier.
And then the question is just, how do you keep most of that cash? And the answer is in the course.
Yeah, it's in the course. But we create a ton of deferment vehicles and a ton of different buckets. And as you get more revenue, like our common friend again, where you're dealing with so much cash from profitability, you end up creating more and more buckets. And so there's a little bit more complexity in that. But the idea behind all of that is that when you start to amass this cash or this wealth, is that you want to invest all of these funds in areas of opportunity to have compounded growth. And a lot of people are attached to the stock market. Most of my clients aren't. They invest in their core competency, is that they focus very specifically on what they're good at, and they get solid returns. And if you're looking at a compounded growth, factor, this is not a Robert Kiyosaki topic, so I didn't invent it. But you can double the value of all these reserve buckets that I'm talking about. You can double the value in 7 to 10 years.
Wow.
If you're managing it correctly. And so that's the quickest path to wealth, is that the more buckets you have, and the greater rate of return that you have for those buckets creates more individual wealth. So that was my third tip. That was a cheat because that's Robert Kiyosaki, so that's really not mine. So I'll give you one more, is invest in your business. Again, this is a cash flow mechanism, so you have to have the ability to invest cash back into your business. The Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017 blew up Section 179, which allows immediate expensing of tangible property, desks, equipment, even vehicles, where you can take a deduction for that, even if you haven't paid for it yet. As long as you purchased it and financed it, you can get the entire deduction in 1 year.
Wow.
Then another incentive that came with the Tax Cut and Job Act of 2017 is bonus depreciation, where your write-off percentage of the cost base of an asset is all done within the first year. So in theory, you can write off any cost basis asset in the same year. And again, it doesn't have to be paid for. So my favorite example is, you need a car for your business and you use it for more than 50% of the time, is that, let's say you use it for 75% of the time, is that you can take 75% of the cost of that vehicle and depreciate it in the first year, even though you haven't paid for it.
That's amazing. And I'm sure, that's one way is like, deduct it all, but then you have to think about the next years and what you're going to do there. And that's where it becomes a little bit complicated, and people come to you where they're like, okay, we did this, now what, right?
You got it.
So guys, if you have that question, we did this, now what? Or I can't believe this happened to me. Or you want any more of these kind of specific tips to apply to your own specific situations. And Julio is watching us. Hey, Julio. So if you want all that stuff, link above, link below. We're starting in 5 days. 11 a.m. Pacific, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. And once you join, we'll tell you where. We keep it secret until then. So thanks, Kingsley.
Thanks, Eva. I appreciate it.
And thanks, everyone. And hopefully this end of 2019 is going to be a lot better than the beginning of 2019 if you haven't applied anything financially to your business. So thanks so much. See you later. Bye, Kingsley.